Cities no longer touched the ocean. Every district floated on engineered air. Traffic disappeared from the streets below. Night crews protected the city quietly. Children learned the sky before the ground. Supply ships arrived through storms every night. Entire neighborhoods drifted with the wind. Food grew beneath the cities themselves. The city breathed like one giant organism. Humanity finally learned how to float gently. Rush hour became almost silent. Even the rain sounded softer up here. Nothing was wasted anymore. Hospitals were designed for healing first. Every cable carried entire neighborhoods safely. Food production became part of daily life. The oceans quietly lifted civilization above them. Storms became something families watched together. Weather became part of city design itself. Humanity stopped fighting the sky. Markets stayed open long after sunset. Most vehicles repaired themselves overnight. Cities eventually learned to slow down. Fresh water floated above the sea itself. People still gathered around quiet knowledge. Entire harvests moved silently through the sky. Sleep became part of infrastructure design. Nature returned to the center of cities. Even storms became carefully managed ecosystems. The future finally felt emotionally safe. Mornings became slower and quieter. Streets were designed for people again. Repairing things became meaningful again. Entire buildings existed only for relaxation. Night travel no longer felt exhausting. Food traveled only a few meters to the table. Children grew up surrounded by open skies. Even ordinary routines felt peaceful. Nature and infrastructure finally worked together. Humanity finally built calmer cities. Public transit began feeling almost meditative. Gardening became part of urban life again. Late nights no longer felt lonely. Cities learned to harvest the sky itself. Communities slowly returned around shared meals. Slower transportation became strangely luxurious. Some buildings existed only for quietness. Forests became part of ordinary neighborhoods. Even transportation was designed around rest. Humanity finally learned how to live gently. The skies slowly became part of everyday life. Sunsets lasted much longer above the clouds. Markets felt more like gardens than cities. People began watching storms for comfort. Nature slowly reclaimed the architecture above it. Even maintenance spaces felt strangely peaceful. Some places existed only to calm the mind. Walking home became part of relaxation itself. Storms became part of family evenings again. Breakfast slowly became a peaceful ritual again. Even simple work felt calmer above the clouds. Libraries became shelters from the noise of life. Machines were maintained with patience instead of urgency. Architecture slowly became emotional medicine. Rainy evenings became something people looked forward to. Families began growing food together again. Silence became a normal part of the morning. Long journeys slowly became restful experiences. Humanity finally built a softer world. People slowly learned to enjoy quiet mornings again. Cities began feeling more like living ecosystems. Storms eventually became part of relaxation. Food slowly became connected to home again. Wellness became part of daily architecture. Public transportation slowly became emotionally gentle. Rainy nights eventually felt comforting instead of stressful. Nature slowly returned to everyday routines. Even travel eventually became restorative. Humanity finally learned how to build peaceful skies. Mornings became brighter and softer over time. Growing food slowly became peaceful again. Rain became something people enjoyed listening to again. Traveling slowly became less stressful for everyone. Some buildings existed only to help people recover. Even rainy evenings eventually felt warm and welcoming. Cities slowly became healthier places to live. Rest eventually became part of transportation design. People eventually stopped rushing through everything. Humanity slowly learned how to build a kinder world. Entire cities quietly depended on thousands of workers every day. Even ordinary chores eventually became calmer experiences. Future schools slowly became places children actually enjoyed. future cities quietly moved millions of supplies every hour. Hospitals eventually became places designed for emotional healing, too. Entire power systems eventually became quieter and cleaner. Markets slowly became peaceful social spaces again. Humanity eventually learned how to live safely with nature. Future technology was maintained carefully instead of constantly replaced. Humanity slowly learned how to build entire worlds together. Even energy systems eventually became quiet and peaceful. Cooking slowly became a shared experience again. Future cities eventually began cleaning the atmosphere around them. Cities slowly became easier for people to move through naturally. Rest eventually became treated as a public necessity. Waste slowly became something humanity learned how to recover from. Compassion slowly became part of infrastructure itself. Humanity eventually learned how to understand storms instead of fearing them. Even advanced civilizations still needed art and craftsmanship. Future cities quietly depended on clean water systems every day. Future transportation required entirely new kinds of schools. Advanced technology slowly became gentler and more caring. Humanity eventually learned how to harvest energy from the sky itself. Rainy nights eventually became part of the city's comfort. Future agriculture slowly became cleaner and more efficient. Transportation hubs slowly became less stressful and more human. Humanity eventually learned how to guide weather gently instead of fighting it. Even future civilizations still treasured handmade objects. Humanity slowly learned how to build a civilization that cared for everyone. Humanity eventually learned how to restore the oceans carefully. Food production eventually became quieter and more beautiful. Emergency systems eventually became calm instead of chaotic. Future generations slowly learned from humanity's mistakes. humanity eventually learned how to work together with nature. People slowly began spending time together more intentionally again. Entire civilizations quietly depended on constant care and maintenance. Maybe the future was never supposed to feel cold or lonely. Maybe the greatest future humanity ever built was one gentle enough for people to finally feel at peace.